Streaming all across the country, from Washington State to South Beach and the Northeast to the deserts of Arizona, to dive into all things football. You're listening to the B&E Podcast. Here's your hosts, Ed Donaldson and Brandon Simpson.
What's going on, everybody? We are about 6 days away from the NFL Open. I can't wait. I wish I could fast forward to next week to get this season started. Brandon, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm good. I can't wait as well. The only the only good thing is we got college football over the weekend.
Yeah,
I'm no big college football fan, but at least you got something to watch.
right. I'm actually I might watch a game once in a while, and it's not gonna be my Michigan team. They play East Carolina. Knock on wood. I think we should take care of them. But I want to see Deion Sanders because he's got they're playing TCU 17th rank. That'll be noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Western time. But
Was that Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday, excuse me. Saturday, yep.
Okay, I gotta make sure I watch that.
And it's gonna be on Fox, everyone. Fox Sports.
Okay.
Yeah. But back to the show though. Today we're gonna be talking about we're gonna be predicting players awards and Super Bowl picks and going on a little bit about that. Let's get started with the opening drive though. Trey Lance has been traded from the 49ers to the Cowboys for a 4th-round pick. Vikings tight end TJ Hockenson has signed a 4-year extension worth up to $68.5 million. Patriots have signed quarterback Matt Corral to serve as the backup to Mac Jones after trimming their roster without a second quarterback. Steve Wilks, current San Fran defensive coordinator and former Cardinals head coach, has sworn in testimony that he was given a burner phone to talk to suspended general manager and was berated by the owner. This comes after former Cardinals VP of player personnel Terry McDonough filed an arbitration claim against owner Michael Bidwill to Roger Goodell in April with allegations of harassment, racist treatment of employees, and cheating. So I don't know if they'll have a bombshell investigation or if another owner is going to be on his way out, but that sounds kind of serious right now.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Let's switch gears to the player awards. Rookies of the year. This award stayed in the NFC East last year. Excuse me, the AFC East with one team. Garrett Wilson and Ahmad Sauce Gardner taking it home. This year, I believe it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to go out west with the Los Angeles Chargers and wide receiver Quentin Johnson. From what I understand, he's not exactly going to start the season at the top of their depth chart, but the Charger wideouts have struggled to stay on the field the past couple of seasons, which I think will open up some opportunities for him. I think Keenan Allen is getting a little bit up in age, but Johnson could easily make some big plays for this offense. No disrespect to Keenan Allen, of course, because he's done his thing. They have Palmer out there, and I can't remember the other receiver as well. But
Mike Williams.
Thank you, Mike Williams. But we all know Justin Herbert just got paid, so he has he don't have to worry about that in the back of his head. So, he's going to be throwing the ball up just like they always do. They welcome the new offensive coordinator and Kellen Moore. Don't know how that's going to go, but at the end of the day, guys make plays on the field, and I think that Quentin Johnson is going to make enough plays there for the Chargers to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. And then on the defensive side, I'm going to go with Joey Porter Jr. here in the AFC North. I feel like we're going to be hearing his name quite often in my division. Nobody can tell me it's ironic this guy ended up in Pittsburgh. If the Steelers had a weakness last year on defense, everyone, it was at the cornerback position. Now you bring in a tall, lengthy guy familiar with the team, the culture, the city, the weather, and even the stadium there. All that factors into your rookie year for sure. Plus, again, his father has him ready to go. He had a big interception in week 2 of the preseason. Just hope he doesn't talk as much trash as his father did back in the day. How do you see offensive and defensive rookies going this year?
I'm going to start with the defensive side. I'm a homer. This is a homer pick right now, but Emmanuel Forbes, a cornerback that Washington drafted 16th overall. Coming out of college, he was a great ball. He had 14 career interceptions. And then he seemed to have a great training camp for what I've been reading about him, and his preseason games going well. That's my homer pick, but if I had to make a more, I don't say educated, but more realistic guess, I'd probably go from the defensive end that the Texans drafted, number 3 overall, Will Anderson. I think he'll have a good impact. He'll play right away. So I'm going to go on a decent side of Will Anderson, but I'm hoping Emmanuel Forbes comes out there and kind of does what Sauce Gardner did last year. On the offensive side of the ball, I was surprised by this, but the Colts, they named their rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson the team captain. I thought that was pretty big. I'm not. That's probably not rare. I think it is, but it might not be. Maybe a lot of rookies been named team captain in the past, but if they got that much confidence in them, I think the way the whole Jonathan Taylor situation is going, how they botched that, they'll probably have the ball in his hands a little bit more. So I'm gonna go with Anthony Richardson as my offensive rookie of the year. And on the defensive side, once again, I got Will Anderson, but I'm hoping Emmanuel Forbes comes out there and gets the job done for defensive rookie of the year. Now that we got the rookies predictions out the way, let's go to offensive and defensive players of the year overall. For the offensive side of the ball, I think Justin Jefferson, wide receiver for Minnesota Vikings, is going to continue to build. Hopefully he doesn't have any injuries or anything that beats him up. He's kind of, in my opinion, going on like a Randy Moss, Odell Beckham trajectory, how they first started out their careers, where they just, those first couple 2-3 seasons, they just did everything right. And I think he's breaking records as far as the amount of years he's played and the stats he's put up. I think he's going to continue to go on that trajectory. Defensive side of the ball, I don't want to say it, but I got to be realistic. I think Micah Parsons is going to win Defensive Player of the Year. He did something in the offseason. He said he was working on his boxing and more working on his hand fighting skills so he can get off the ball a little fast, get off the the blocker faster. And he's been a pain in my side, pain in the Washington's ass these last couple years. I think that's going to get even worse going forward. So yeah, I got Justin Jefferson as my offensive player of the year and Micah Parsons is my defensive player. How about you, Brandon?
Yeah, I'm lucky we don't have to play the Cowboys defense with Michael Parsons only once every 4 years. Unfortunately, we'll have him in 2024, so I'll wait as long as possible for that one right there. I'm going to stick in the NFC East with my defensive player of the year, but I'm going to go with the New York Football Giants and Kayvon Thibodeau. I know you've been very vocal about how he's got after your team last year. 6'5", 258 pounds. This guy is roaring to make quarterbacks lose sleep. We saw him consistently around the quarterback last year making plays. He only had, from what I understand, he only had 4 sacks in his rookie season.
I think he got all 4 of them against us. Let me look that shit up. I'm sorry. I'll look that up.
Please do. But he has more talent around him this year as well. I like the addition of Isaiah Simmons, go along with Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams. I think that'll help free him up even more. Plus, he has a stronger secondary as well. Give me the number 5 pick from the 2022 NFL Draft, Thibodeau there with the Giants for Defensive Player of the Year. You found it yet, or you want me to go on?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm still looking.
All right. And on Offensive Player of the Year, guys, we were not discussing this beforehand, but I'm going with Justin Jefferson as well. Every time I think of this guy, first thing that comes to mind is his double-digit receptions and triple-digit receiving yards. He damn near gets it every game. He can catch the ball at any point and is a difference maker there for the Vikings offense. We saw probably one of the greatest catches of all time against the Bills when they played them last year. I think this team won't be as good, but again, like I said earlier with the Chargers, I think that guys still go out there on the field and they still make plays. And I think that Justin Jefferson is a proven playmaker in this league, and I'm not betting against this guy. You found it?
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I guess he didn't have 4 sacks against us. He only had a sack, forced fumble, a touchdown.
Probably felt like it.
He had 3. Yeah, he had 12 tackles against us. So basically, the start of his Hall of Fame career, pretty much kicked it off against us. So
yep.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get too much into that. I was about to go on a tangent, but yeah, let's just keep going.
I can understand. We have to deal with TJ Watt, so I know what you're going through. And Myles Garrett too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That might be worse.
Yeah. All right. So to the comeback player of the year and the coach of the year, comeback player of the year, Broncos country, let's ride. Okay. I've been waiting to say that one, everyone. Look, I'm not jumping on the Broncos bandwagon, but I think they should be decent this year. Russ has to overcome some major injuries at the wide receiver position, unfortunately for them. But his running back has returned, and the offensive line is always good out there, especially run blocking. So hopefully they'll be able to protect the run. They took our old left guard, Cleveland, I believe his name was, and he's now out there in the Mile High City. Russ wasn't a problem last year, and I believe he'll prove it this year as so. Coach of the year, unfortunately, I got to go back to the AFC North again. Mike Tomlin. I feel that nobody's talking about the Steelers this year from what I've seen as far as them getting back to the playoffs. I think that Pickett will make a slight leap into year two. You still have Freiermuth and Harris out there for him on offense, plus Pickens is a beast. Okay, we've seen some preseason clips of this guy just in practice, just making outrageous catches. Okay. And then on defense, TJ Watt is still there, as I mentioned before. Joey Porter Jr., he's in the mix to go along with Pat Peterson, Minka Fitzpatrick, and big Cam Hayward up in the middle. I think the Steelers will jump into one of these wild card spots in the AFC. And their defense will be top five, honestly. Give me the guy who's never finished a season below 500 in his coaching career, Mike Tomlin, to win Coach of the Year. What about yourself?
I got the same for comeback player of the year. Broncos country, let's ride. I got to do it too. I think Sean Payton's going to get a little more control with Russell Wilson. Hopefully he can get back to how he was when he played in Seattle early in his career, in the middle of his career. He kind of started to fall off a little bit at the end of his career, but I know injuries and his team around him wasn't as great as well. But yeah, I agree with you. I think Russell Wilson has a good chance to win comeback player of the year just because how awful him and his team was last year. Coach of the year, I'm being a homer again. I think Ron Rivera is going to win Coach of the Year. New owner, Sam Howell's a quarterback. I think Sam Howell's I'm just a homer right now. I'm really excited about Washington football. Yeah. But I think Ron and crew is gonna really produce a good team, might surprise a bunch of people, win 10-11 games, and I think Ron has a good chance to win Coach of the Year. Then just a narrative that I'm kind of creating, hopefully media can create it too, but I think the new owner he just announced that they're going to have $40 million for upgrades to upgrade the fan experience of FedEx Field. So, I mean, I just think the future is shining or bright for us, for Washington. So I got Ron as my Coach of the Year and Russell Wilson as the comeback player of the year. Before we get going into our MVP picks, this episode is brought to you by Premium, a CBD and wellness company. Check out their full line of CBD-infused products, which make a great stocking stuffers for the upcoming holiday season. Perfect for athletes, weekend warriors, soccer moms, and even armchair quarterbacks. They have CBD-infused honey, which is a personal favorite, as well as tinctures and mint and regular flavor. Most importantly, they are veteran and woman-owned, so come get some of this sweet temptation and taste the premium difference. Use code B&E for 15% off your order. Their website is premium.com. That's PREHEMIUM.com. Again, that's PREHEMIUM.com. And now let's get back to our show. MVP picks. Brandon, I'm going to let you go first. Who you got for MVP?
Ooh, I can't wait to hear yours because you told me being a homer. I want to see if you're going somebody on your squad, but I'm going to stick in the AFC. Oh, okay. Can't wait. I'm going to stick in the AFC North. Joe Burrow is about to have himself a year, everyone. Don't worry, Bengals fans. All your key skill position players are back on the offense, minus Hayden Hurst, but Joe Burrow will be just fine. Unfortunately, the Ravens will have to deal with him twice, quite possibly 3 times like last year. They improved the offensive line as well by bringing in Orlando Brown Jr., former Chief and Raven. Of course, he won a Super Bowl there in Kansas City. So, of course, a team that you want to beat, you pick from them nowadays. So, yeah, he has an improved offensive line there for sure. Last year, he finished with 4,475 yards, 35 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. I think he'll put up about the same this year, just with less interceptions. Plus, he had 5 rushing touchdowns there in 2022. I think he'll be ready to take his team back to the Super Bowl. I just hope they lose again. MVP, Ed.
MVP. I'm sticking in the AFC North, so I think you know who I'm gonna go with. Lamar Jackson. I
Ooh.
honestly think you guys invested in him, and I think he's gonna have all the confidence in the world. He brought in some more weapons, like we said, Zay Flowers drafted him. Odell Beckham brought him in. Brought in Nelson Aguilar. Mark Andrews, steady top 3 tight end. J.K. Dobbins and crew, ultimate dual threat quarterback. I think Lamar Jackson is gonna make some noise. Hopefully, he can stay healthy. I think that's the only issue or concern I have of him is his health. But other than that, I think he's gonna come out the gate swinging, knocking mofos out. So that's who I got as my MVP, Lamar Jackson of the Baltimore Ravens.
Got you. All right. Super Bowl 58, everyone, is February 11, 2024 at Allegiant Stadium. In case you don't know, that's the home of the Las Vegas Raiders. Ed, I'm going to be pretty honest. I don't think you're picking the Raiders to go to the Super Bowl at home, are you?
The Raiders?
You're the Raiders.
Hell no. Not a chance to hell, but as I say that, of course they go like some life won't happen and they fuck around in the Super Bowl. But no, I think the Chiefs are gonna be back again for the AFC right now. NFC, I'm still kind of it's honestly I don't know. It could be a repeat of last year. Eagles, man. If not the Eagles, maybe the Niners, but I definitely see the Chiefs right now as an AFC favorite to get to the Super Bowl. NFC is still a kind of a toss-up for me right now, though. What about you?
I can never count out Patrick Mahomes and those guys in Kansas City. They've been to three Super Bowls. They won 2 since he's been there. But I believe in Joey Burrow and those guys in Cincinnati. I think he's coming back with a vengeance. The defense, I still have some questions about, but we can't go wrong with this offense. Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and those guys. Again, I mentioned the improved offensive line as well. Plus, they have a clutch kicker as well. He missed a couple big kicks last year, but I think he'll get back to that rookie form. And I know people are probably thinking, what are you talking about a kicker for? But kickers win games as well. Okay. So I think that the Bengals will have just enough to get over Kansas City in the AFC. And then in the NFC, I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, this team looks the best as far as they've done it last year as well. And I know Philly looks good as well, but they've lost some pieces. They lost both offensive coordinators. I think was it Hargrove? He went out to San Fran, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the one that went out there. These guys are stacked. CMC, Mitchell, your boy Debo. You always talk about Kittle, Trent Williams, former commander, Armstead, Bosa. I know Bosa's still holding out right now, last I understand. But Hufanga and Warner. Again, John Lynch, he must get Joey Bosa in the door because I think that defense does take a slight step back. But I have no reason to think that this team can't win it all. And then, we all were concerned with Brock Purdy and how he was going to look coming off that injury. He went out in the preseason, had a decent preseason. I know it's just the preseason. He probably was playing the backups, but still, again, he went out there and he put the stats out there. He got his feet wet. Trey Lance is no longer there. Jimmy G is no longer there. He don't have anybody looking over his shoulder. I mean, because who in the hell would start Sam Darnold over anybody at this rate? Okay, besides injuries for him. So yeah, San Francisco over Cincinnati in Super Bowl 58. I think it's going to go that way.
Gotcha. We'll definitely see what happens. Now let's get to this first game of the season, Thursday night football game, I believe, right? Lions versus the Chiefs. Yep. Brandon, how you see this one going?
And you know that old school R&B song, Everybody Plays a Fool? Came out in 1972. The main ingredient. If I played it, you know it, but we can't do it for copyright purposes. But I'm no fool, okay? Patrick Mahomes has a 5-0 career record in week 1. Okay, no matter who comes or goes. Tyreek Hill, okay, Eric Bieniemy is gone now. His left tackle is gone. Long as Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are there, they have a chance. I believe this game will be close in the first half, but Kansas City will do Kansas City things. I always talk about it. Definitely last year, they deferred the coin toss until the second half. They score right before halftime, and then they score right out of the opening drive out of halftime. I think Detroit's offense can keep up, but defensively, they're a liability on the back end. Only concern I have Thursday night for Kansas City that could possibly slip up and go in Detroit's favor is that Chris Jones is still holding out. He's a defensive maker. I mean, a difference maker there for the Steve Spagnuolo defense. But again, I'm no fool. Okay, give me the Chiefs by 2 touchdowns, quite possibly 17 points there at home on Thursday night with our boy Chris Collinsworth on the call. What about you?
Your boy Chris Collinsworth, not my boy.
I know.
Your boy.
Being sarcastic as F. Okay.
Yeah, we might have to do an episode on our favorite commentators and our least favorite commentators. So
most definitely.
guys, so everybody gets that my boy, your boy, Chris Collinsworth thing. But I agree with you. I think the Chiefs will win. I do have a concern, as you said, with Chris Jones being out. They're also going to be without Charles Omenihu. They picked him up in the free agency to be on their D-line as well, but he's suspended for violating league policy. They also lost Juan Thornhill, one of their defensive backs, in the offseason. So I'm kind of concerned about the Chiefs' defense. I think the Lions' offense, like you said, is going to be kind of formidable. I need to see how Jahmyr Gibbs, their rookie running back, looks. They also have what's my guy named? David Montgomery over from the Bears, I believe. So I think that running attack might keep the Lions in the game. I won't be surprised if they kind of play offense where they try to keep Mahomes off the field as much as possible, where they have like a win a time of possession battle. And I could see them possibly winning the game that way. But like you said, as long as Mahomes is out there on the field, it's really hard to bet against them, even though their wide receiver core coming in this year is kind of inexperienced. I mean, they got MVS, Marcus Valdez-Scantling, but Juju Smith-Schuster's gone. Sky Moore, he's going into his second year. I think he'll be the second receiver they drafted. Rashee Rice this year, but he's a rookie. He still has to prove himself. So I'm not too sure. I mean, Travis Kelce, he's the anchor, but Isaiah Pacheco, he did do well last year. We'll see if he can continue that. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs too. I think it's gonna be a little closer. I'm gonna give the Lions within a touchdown. I think it's gonna be a close game. I think I might go wire to wire, honestly, but I think Chiefs will pull it out and win in the end. So yeah, I got Chiefs too, but I'm hoping it's a good game. I hope it's not a blowout. Hopefully, Kirk Herbstreit and crew, whoever's because that's probably gonna be an Amazon game. It's on Thursday.
Oh, right? That is on Prime? I don't know. I think it's on NBC.
Let me check real quick.
Got you. But while you're doing that, you mentioned Sky Moore. I was real high on him last year. I think he has to pick up where he left off because he was pretty quiet during the regular season. But I think in that Super Bowl I think he scored in the Super Bowl. If not, he had a big catch or something to get them on a scoring drive there. So yeah, I really like Sky Moore heading into year 2.
Yeah, you're right. It's on NBC. I might have to write them to see if Mike Tirico. Maybe we can get Mike Tirico in there, but I don't know. I might have to put the game on mute or something. But nah, Chris Collinsworth, you cool. You just I ain't gonna get into it. But yeah, Chiefs. Me and Brandon Pope picking the Chiefs.
I actually want to get into it. We ran pretty fast. What we was going to talk about. If you want to talk about it, I have my favorites and least favorites. Because I actually was
go ahead. I gotta think about it, but you go ahead. List yours.
Okay. So I think my favorite, being a Ravens fan and an AFC fan, I'm big on CBS. I really like Iron Eagle. Anybody he goes with or sitting beside, he can make better as an announcer. I think he's with Charles Davis last year, probably the last couple of years. Of course, I'm a big Jim Nantz fan. I'm not going to say I'm the biggest Tony Romo fan. I understand what they're doing because you got to have Cowboys on. Seems like every network, a former Cowboy has got to be on there, or else they can't be on TV. I don't know what the hell the problem is with that. But Jim Nantz and Iron Eagle, I will take Iron Eagle more than Jim Nance. I think Ian's enthusiasm is a little bit better. He's the one that did the Lamar Jackson, he is Houdini on against the Bengals when Lamar did a 360 spin move on guys and they damn near ran into each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really love those two. I'm a big Mike Tirico fan though as well.
Yeah, me too.
I used to like Joe Buck, but I think he's kind of
damn.
got more. Yeah, he's got more bias towards certain teams. Especially when he was on Fox. But I guess we can kind of count them as broadcasters. Peyton and Eli, for me being
Yeah.
a Peyton hater when he was playing, he is damn good at what they do. Like the first season, they struggled to
Manicast.
get in and out of commercial breaks, and as a broadcast student, it was kind of hard to watch, but they obviously worked on it as time went on, and I guess last off season and last year they got really better. So I'm think like if I could have somebody on Ravens games every week, it would be Iron Eagle, and then substitute it would be or second place Jim Nance, and then I really like Jim Nance with Phil Simms when they used to be on there. I like Phil Simms' accent.
Yeah, I like Phil Simms
the way
too.
he used to say certain words, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
And and then Peyton and Eli there on the Manning
Mhm.
cast, which I hope they're coming back. I'm pretty sure they are. I just haven't
Yeah.
heard anything. They're
Yeah,
always
coming back.
entertaining to watch, and it is. I really like how the ESPN set that up to have two former players call the entire game. Two of the more smarter quarterbacks. Eli didn't have the best career, besides Super Bowls. We all know that, but you have two former players calling the games from their perspective. They know the game inside out, as opposed to some of the announcers that never played. You know what I'm saying? Yes, they do have their play-by-play. I mean, person next to them that played, but Peyton and Eli and then also having the guest in there as well. It just makes it a damn good show. Hearing perspective of coaches,
Yeah.
other players, NBA legends and stuff. It's a very good program they have there with them. I hope they don't ever let that go. And I hope some of the other networks maybe can implement something into that, as time goes on. Like much as I don't like him as a quarterback when Pat Mahomes retires, it'd be nice to get him on CBS or Fox, you know what I'm saying, doing something similar on their top game that's across the country. So yeah, those are my three guys or four guys that I really like to hear. What about yourself?
No. Wait. Who don't you like?
Who don't
let's
I
go
like?
there.
Okay,
Yeah, let's
Chris
go there.
Collinsworth, and Kirk Herbstreit. Okay, it's funny because you mentioned both of them, but I mentioned Kirk. I mean, Chris is first, but then you mentioned Kirk because you thought it was on Prime.
Oh,
Herbstreit
before you go, I'm
is.
sorry I'm sorry to interrupt you. If I
Oh,
didn't
you're
say
fine.
it is that game, the Lions Chiefs, it is NBC. Lions Chiefs is
NBC, yeah,
NBC.
yeah. The first game typically is, but I see where you're coming from because it's Thursday night.
Yeah.
Prime has the rights to
Mix
that
me up.
now. But Herbstreit, I think, is a great college football analysis. I think he's amazing on College Game Day when I watch him. I didn't even know the man actually played football
Yeah, Ohio State. That's kind of
until I
wild though.
looked him up. Yeah. But he goes on Prime and says the same things every week. And we mentioned it off air how when Baker got traded from Carolina
God,
to
why'd you bring that up?
was it
God.
from Carolina to the Rams last year, right?
Ugh.
Oh, he must have been on the plane studying. He only had 48 hours or something like that. And then remember the first pass, it was like straight across the middle. It was like a slant up, probably about 20 yards up, and then straight slanting to the middle of the field. And he's like, "Oh, that was an awesome pass." It's like, okay, as a number one overall pick, as a guy that's been on damn near 3, 4 teams by now, and what's Baker been in going on his 6th year? He was in his 5th year. We expect those type of throws out of you. Okay. So for you to sit back and say what an awesome throw after you just joined the team, okay, that's a standard route in the NFL. If it ain't standard, it's probably just a tad bit less. How far they go before they make the cut. And okay, anybody can make that throw, in my opinion, if you're a starting quarterback or even the backup. But Chris Collinsworth, his voice is just annoying. Okay. And now he was with the great Al Michaels. Um, I love the guy, Al Michaels. And then now he's with Mike Tirico, two of the better guys. I do like those two
Yeah.
as well. I think I mentioned Mike Tirico. But yeah, I mean Chris is just annoying. I mean, it's just no way um better to chop it up than that. So yeah, my dislikes are Chris Collinsworth and Kirk Herbstreit, and I give Chris an edge on who I dislike more because he's been doing it longer.
Yeah.
Kirk just got into the booth last year, so we'll hopefully see an upgrade from him this year, but we'll see.
Yeah. I have to think about it a little more, but I definitely agree with you on the dislikes. Chris Collinsworth, at least 2 times a game, I roll my eyes and saw the stuff he says. And I feel like a lot of people going to look at it as crazy because I know Chris Collinsworth is a real popular commentator.
Mm-hmm.
But in my opinion, he's annoying. Some of the stuff he says is like a no-brainer type stuff. But either way, I do agree. I think I watch Manningcast more than I watch the regular broadcast. I mean,
Yeah.
Troy and Joe Buck are good, but I think Manningcast, that's a home run, especially when they bring guests on. It's raw and authentic. Even if they do make mistakes sometimes, I think it's funny in a good way. I remember Marshawn Lynch came on and he cursed on live air a couple of times. I thought it was just hilarious. I thought it was good TV too. But I want to give a shout out to John Madden, Pat Summerall real quick. Those are old school OGs.
Yeah.
Those were growing up, I used to play Madden all the time. And they didn't really talk too much, but in the early games, talking about like if everybody ever had like a Sega, played those early Maddens like 95, 96, 97, they didn't really commentate, but when you make a big hit, John Madden be like, boom,
boom. Yep.
Yeah. And then eventually they started giving them more lines and stuff. So, John Madden, Pat Summerall, they give me good memories of me watching football as a young kid. So I want to shout them out. But I want to see RG3 in the booth. I think he's a great analyst.
He's good.
I think he's going to have a good career on TV, but I would like to see him in the booth. I think you said Tony Romo. I thought he was really good first. He started to kind of get annoying to me because he wouldn't make a choice. He'd be like, I can see it this way, but I can see it this way too. I don't know. It kind of gets on noise like this, make a decision and stick with it. I said Steve Smith, right? But yeah, Mike Tirico, he came on, he did something last year. I can't remember if it was Olympics or something, but he came in because there was like a technical difficulties. They couldn't get the regular guy in. Mike Tirico came in, he was doing it for like 5-10 minutes and he was knocking it out the park. I was like, dang, Mike Tirico, I'm pretty sure it was a basketball game, but he was great at it. So yeah, I like Mike Tirico too. Trying to think who else. There's some other guys out there. What's the dude's name? The former he was the old ESPN broadcasting before Troy Aikman and Joe Buck. It was Booger McFarland and I can't remember the other two dudes.
Joe Chestatone.
Joe Tessitore was another guy. It was a black dude, bald brother. I think he used to be with he used to be like a GM or something for Washington.
Oh, Louis Riddick.
Yeah, I like Louis Riddick a lot.
Yeah,
I like Louis Riddick a lot too. I think he provides great analysis. So yeah, Mike Tirico, Tony Romo's all right. Louis Riddick, Manningcast. I think that's the best broadcast show out, honestly, right now. And then salute to the OGs, RP, John Madden, and Pat Summerall as well.
Yeah. Definitely agree with that, John Madden, Pat Summerall, and a couple of the points, and one other guy, John Gruden, was really good in the booth.
John Gruden was awesome.
Yeah. He was amazing. I was kind of sad to see him go back to coaching because it's kind of like, okay, you're so great at this. We know that the Raiders aren't going to win. So besides the money, like I wouldn't even ruin my broadcast career going back to football. I would stay right there. And the one thing I like about, because Joe Buck, obviously there for a while, Joe Buck and Jim Nantz were the lead guys for CBS and Fox.
Okay.
Joe, the only sport, if I'm not mistaken, the only other sport he could do or did was baseball. And he was good at that. But Jim Nantz, one reason why I'd give him an edge, like if I was taking over one of these networks, who I would get to join my team would be Jim Nantz, because Jim does college basketball, of course the NFL, he does golf, and I feel like it's one more. and he's great at all of them across the
Yeah.
board. Yeah,
I know your guy Iron Eagle, he does basketball too. He's real good with
him
that
too.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when the remember the comeback, the Vikings and the Colts, when the Vikings came back from 33 down.
Yeah.
Iron Eagle has a son that calls games. Apparently, he
Yep.
does local radio for the Rams or something like that, one of those teams.
Yeah.
And of course, when he came on the air, it took him about 5 seconds to show their names or say their names. And I'm like, he's got to be related to Iron Eagle because he looks just like him and he sounded like him too. And he was flawless as well. And I was like, damn, I had no idea that his son was even in the business. So that's something that, like, if I'm ever listening to, I got to look him up again to see which radio team he does locally. I definitely want to listen to him over the opposing team's broadcast team if I had to.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, it's a lot of good guys out there.
Yeah, I'm hoping more players or former players get into the broadcast booth too, because I liked Aqib Talib before he had his whole situation. I think Aqib Talib was really good as well, in my opinion. And I said Steve Smith too. But yeah, I like those guys for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I think that's it for today, right?
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, next week, next Thursday, Lions and Chiefs. I can't wait. I kind of wish I can go in the damn time machine and just fast forward to it, but I'm sure there'll be some more crazy news that comes out. There were some injuries too. It's always crazy how people are hurt before the games even start. I know I was reading the Seahawks, Jamal Adams. I know Jamal Adams out. He ain't with the Seahawks, though, is he?
Yeah, I think he's on the pup list, right?
Yeah, but he's out. I'm thinking of their rookie cornerback. He's looking like he's out. Terry
Top pick,
McLaurin.
yeah.
I think Terry McLaurin's is going to be out as well. Actually, no, it's Jamal. Yeah, Jamal Adams. He is with the Seahawks. I'm about to say, yeah.
JSN is out, I believe, for the Seahawks. The rookie
really?
wide receiver. Yeah, he got injured against the Cowboys.
Oh yeah,
I don't
that
think
wrist
he's gonna
surgery.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, then Terry McLaurin, hopefully he is able to play. We'll see. Bonehead decision right there. Bonehead play of the week with that one, Ron. But we'll see. Definitely see.
Quick thoughts on
everyone.
the
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, quick thoughts on the Trey Lance trade. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I kind of feel bad for Trey Lance. He was always in like a tough position. First he gets hurt, and then Mr. Relevant, almost Brock Purdy comes out of nowhere and looks like the second coming of Joe Montana. So, his position got usurped. Now he's over with the Cowboys. It's kind of crazy out there in Jerryland. So we'll see how it does. Unless Dak gets hurt or something, though, I don't imagine him playing. They still got Cooper Rush, I believe. So I think Cooper Rush will be coming in for backup duties if something happens to Dak, and then maybe we'll see Trey Lance a year or two from now, but I don't know. I don't really know what to think of that, honestly. What about you? Yeah,
the last thing I saw on Wednesday, I checked the depth chart. He's number 3, and I know they said apparently he talked to Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch and said that he wanted to go to a team where he could be the backup. So yeah, it is unfortunate that he went out there and is the backup. I think he came in a little bit too late when it comes to training camp and heading towards the season. But from the Cowboys' perspective, it's not a bad decision as far as the compensation, a 4th round pick. Those are hit or miss. Of course, Dak Prescott was drafted in the 4th round, but not everybody hits on those 4th round picks because, obviously the lower you go down in the draft, the less of a chance of those guys making an immediate impact, definitely for sure. So trading away a 4th round pick wasn't big for the Cowboys. As far as that goes, it would obviously have to be 2 injuries basically, Dak plus Cooper Rush for him to get in. But I do feel like from the Cowboys' perspective of them being America's team and just the constant pressure that's on them and their quarterback just from being in Dallas, I think he's going to have even more pressure this year, for sure. But so we'll see how it works out. It could be something where Trey Lance is not even with them by the time his contract is up. Or it could be something that, a couple Cowboys fans I know that were saying they might just let Dak's contract run out. He's 29 years old. He has 2 more years left on his contract. And then Trey Lance move into that role. But, Cooper Rush didn't play bad last year in those games when he had to fill in for Dak. So you're kind of stuck with some questions there if it comes down to later this year and next year when they're looking at their roster, especially if, Dak plays the entire season, because do you want to hold 3 quarterbacks next year if you don't need it, in a sense? Like I say, who are you going to let go? But they didn't give up that much. So if they have to release Trey Lance, let's say next offseason, because they feel as if Cooper Rush is the better quarterback, it won't be much of it won't hurt them, I think, as much in the long run as it would have been a first-round pick or what San Fran gave up to go get him. And real quick, I think San Fran, if they didn't win so much, a lot more would be on them for not only what they gave up to get him, but also you heading into last season. They say John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan came out and said that Jimmy G would never play for them again. Of course, nobody knew that Trey Lance was going to get injured in week 2. Jimmy G was on the sideline practicing at training camp, wasn't even nowhere near the team from what I heard. Of course, Jimmy G comes in, Jimmy G gets injured, and then Brock Purdy is there, and now both guys are gone. So, again, if they weren't winning so much, it would be a lot of flack on them, I think, because of some of the decisions that have been made, some of the things that have been said. I'm sure their local media was probably all over that, but yeah, they better hope they win this year, honestly, if you're a San Fran fan.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, everyone. That's going to do it for this episode of B&E Podcast presented by Premium. It's full swing now. We'll be back a day after the Lions versus Chiefs for a full recap of that game, plus breakdown of the games that'll follow in week 1. Until next time, love one another.
Have a great Labor Day weekend, everyone. Stay safe.
Thanks.
Excuse me.